you take your 83-year-old mom on a hot air balloon ride? I did. What happened next surprised me, and we caught it all on camera. Make sure to stay tuned through the end. We have bonus footage for you. And welcome to Aviation Intrigue.
This is Aviation, Aviation Intrigue.
Gopal, tell us what was the best part of the balloon ride?
The landing, no doubt about it. Not really because we were anxious to get back on the ground, but it was a completely unknown experience. We didn't know what to expect. I was a little anxious about it, but I was more nervous on how my mom was going to handle it. I'll tell you, she handled it like a pro. It was a fantastic experience, and I have a lot more to say about this later on.
Besides the landing, then, what was the most surprising?
Keep in mind that neither one of us has done this before, right? So even though I'm a pilot, I've flown airplanes and in gliders and everything, I've never been in a hot air balloon. So everything was a little bit of surprise. Did you know that the only control the hot air balloon pilot has is turning on the burners, which makes the balloon ascend, or turning it off, that keeps it at the same height or maybe descent? I was really surprised, maybe even the word is shocked, to find out that that's about the only control the hot air balloon pilot has. Otherwise, 100%, we are at the mercy of the winds.
So describe the balloon launch.
Again, it was very different experience for us. We got in a van and they're hauling this basket in the back. You can see this in the videos. And we go to a launch site. You know where the launch site was? A local elementary school's parking lot and their playground. That's where we were launching. And it was very early. I think we got there somewhere in the 5:30 a.m. time frame, maybe 6 o'clock. It was pretty early. The sun was just coming out, which, by the way, made it spectacular. And they take the basket down and they tilt the basket sideways. And then they take this balloon from a bag. My understanding is the bag weighs about 250 pounds. And they stretch this balloon, and it felt like it was stretching for feet on end. And then they attach the balloon to the basket through these carabiners and what looked to me like sailboat ropes. And they attached those. And then they brought in a big blower, like an industrial sized blower, and start pumping air. And you slowly start to see the balloon inflate and inflate and inflate. And when the balloon was inflated reasonably well, then the pilot gets into the basket and starts operating the burner, which starts shooting out these flames, which now not just puts air in it, but it's heating up the air, which then tilts the balloon from being horizontal to now vertical. This is the time where we were able to get in, and then our ride begins.
So you talked about these gas burners being the up and down. I'd be nervous about accidentally getting too high or not having enough and getting too low. So what was that flight like?
First of all, I have to tell you, it took us probably 3 reschedules before we found the time to do this flight. The reason is they have to find the perfect conditions to fly. Because the hot air balloon flights are so dependent on the wind and the wind flow, they really prefer very calm or very light wind days. So in our case, it was very calm at the surface and maybe 8 to 10 miles an hour winds at 3,000 feet. The pilot needs to know which direction the wind is coming. So in our case, the winds were coming in from the west-northwest. So we got into the van and drove west-northwest to find this elementary school. Our point of landing is to the southeast because that's the only direction we can go, unlike a sailboat. In the hot air balloon, evidently, there's no such thing like tacking. You literally are floating down. There's some directionality, but he's not controlling the direction. He's reading the winds to control a little bit or influence where we end up.
So more about the flight. How high did you go? How low did you go? What did you see and feel during the flight?
So this was another surprise for me, is that I thought we were going to go a lot higher, but we ended up staying relatively low, maybe 1,500 feet. We may have gone 2,000 feet, but I don't really think so. Most of the time we were down below because it was very interesting, very serene. You can see this in the video where we got low down to this Fox River Valley. We were able to go down that valley. At points, we were few feet off the ground, well below the tree line. It was incredible. That is something that you will not be able to do in an airplane or a helicopter by for sure.
You said the best part was the landing. Tell us about that.
No doubt about it in my mind. The landing was the best part. Partly because a little bit of a mystery, but partly because I'm used to landing an airplane or been in a helicopter or a glider. This was very different. Remember, the pilot is controlling the ascent and the descent using the burners. So once he picked a spot, by the way, the trick is picking the spot. In this case, we ended up in an elementary school about 10 miles from the place where we took off. So we had come about 10 miles to the southeast. That's where we were landing. And it was an elementary school parking lot. Now, I did not realize this before, is that where he lands, he has to make sure that there's an access road so the crew can come in with their chase van and pick us up, because this balloon is 250 pounds, so they can't just carry it. It's becomes very difficult. So they had to have an access road very close by. For most part, it looks just like a very controlled, very slow, very gentle descent. And one of the most surprising part for me is that as soon as you touch down, he tells you to brace for impact, and it touches down and the whole basket tilted forward because he stops squeezing the trigger and there's no more hot air going in, and the balloon wants to fall forward, and he does that on purpose. So as you are going forward and touching down, similar to landing an airplane, the balloon falls in front of you, and the basket tilts forward. And get this, we had to crawl on our knees out of the basket. My 83-year-old mom did it like a pro. I was super proud of her.
I see now why you go at sunrise. What was your mom's favorite part?
My mom was ecstatic. She was thrilled. Apparently, this has been in our bucket list. I think we may have mentioned this in an episode before. So I'm so glad that I was able to give her that experience. Even though she was 83, she handled it like a pro. She was such a sport about it, and she enjoyed every minute. That proved to me that age has nothing to do with how you enjoy life, that it's all in your mindset. And then if you want to go enjoy, you go enjoy.
Sounds like an awesome ride. Would you do it again? Would you recommend that everyone take their moms on a hot air balloon?
150%. I had so much fun. My mom had so much fun. Highly recommended. The only caveat is that if you have some physical ailment or knee problems or whatever, make sure that you consult with the people who operate the rides. They will tell you what you can or cannot. There are some height restrictions. I'm sure there's some weight restriction, some mobility restriction. It is not like hiking that you need to like climb or anything like that, but it does require a certain amount of physical strength. But in my mind, I would do it again. It was a fantastic experience. Next time I go, I would know what to expect. So I'm actually looking forward to being able to do it with certain amount of familiarity with the process. You should put it on your bucket list, Elaine, and I think everybody
It is.
should put it on their bucket list. Maybe it's not for everybody, but go take a look at it. I did not know that there was an operator literally 20 minutes from my house. So all I had to do was Google search to find out hot air balloon near me, and then voila, this came. We used a outfit called Wind Dancer Balloon Promotions that is in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And I will bet that no matter where you live in the world, or in the US for sure, that you may be able to find a balloon outfitter somewhere close that you can take a ride with. So, do you have some great hot air balloon stories, especially taking an older person with you? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments.